waiting, I told myself, you know what, just go to sleep and wait for your flight to get here. But God's plans are a little different. He said, I want you to know when people decide to sit down and do nothing, opportunities get delayed. Chances for people to get to know me get delayed. Kind of like how your flight got delayed. But our problem is that some of us don't know the God that the Bible speaks of. Why? Because we have our own idea of who God is and what God is. And the reason for that is because we don't really take the time to get to know him. See, we think that God thinks like us, but he doesn't. If my mind was the size of a soda can, and God was the size of all the oceans, it would be absurd to even say that my God is a small can that I can dip into the ocean. He's so much more complicated. He's so much more complex because he created this entire universe. And we think that a God like that thinks like us. And when we start to think that he thinks like us, we'll tell him, listen, God, it's been a long day. Really long day. I'll pray tomorrow. I have a really busy schedule this week, and I can't tell anybody about Jesus. So I'll say something next week. And right there is when we start to convince ourselves that not only he thinks like us, but that we are promised tomorrow. In James 4, it says that our life is just a vapor. We are not promised tomorrow. And those people who sit around you, who you talk to, yeah, well, they're not promised tomorrow either. So it's time for us to stop being shy, to stop worrying about our reputation, and to start telling that girl who's depressed about whatever it is, and that boy who's addicted to drugs about Jesus. Because isn't that what Christians are called to do? Some might say, it's a little bit more than I can handle. What if I get made fun of? But the thing is, what if we could save them? What if we could tell them about Jesus and they accept him into their heart? See, we don't want to come out of our comfort zone. But Jesus told his disciples to step out of their comfort zone and go out and make disciples of all nations. That means living like Christ did. And truth is, Jesus' life wasn't PG-13. It was rated R. But just because it was rated restricted doesn't mean we have to restrict others from knowing about him. Because he's king. He should be known. His name should be everywhere. And yet we take that small chance and just move it to the side. Because we're too busy worrying about other things like watching The Walking Dead and worrying about the followers we have on Instagram. But what's that going to matter if the amount of followers we have on Instagram are only being led to be The Walking Dead? And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be spat out of God's mouth. In Revelation 3, it says that he will spit us out of his mouth because we're neither hot nor cold. And that's what's going to happen when we become comfortable. God is calling out to us to step out. We're sitting down doing nothing. In Matthew 10:38 and 39, it says, if you refuse to take up your cross and follow me, you are not worthy of being mine. If you cling to your life, you will lose it. But if you give your life to me, you will find it. And nowhere in that verse does it say, you know what, just chill, take a seat, it's all right, take a nap. I got this. It says to do his will, not our will, not to lead our own life, but to follow him, to take up our cross and follow him. And yet, we continue to just shy and just let things be. And if you're breathing, that means God woke you up this morning. He poured out his grace on you this morning. Because our God's like that. He's lovable. He loves us. His unconditional love surrounds us. We don't acknowledge